Hello and welcome to Fit to Box channel. Please like and subscribe and don't forget to jab that notifications bell for all my latest uploads. Today I am joined by Damien once again and we are talking about the fight between Daniel Dubois and Joyce. Okay, so this is a big heavyweight clash here in the UK for the British title, Commonwealth title. Is it for the European?
I'm not sure about that one.
But certainly the British title is obviously the Lonsdale belt. And over the years, there's been some classic Lonsdale belt British title fights. And I think that this one definitely will be. You have got Daniel Dubois, who is the up-and-coming sort of future, the heir apparent for the heavyweight division. And then you've got Joyce, a decorated amateur. He's beat some big names, although they're at the sort of the tail end of their career to this point now. But these guys are both on the way up. Joyce is obviously older. Daniel Dubois, the young lion. And so it's this one. You've got the power of Daniel Dubois, but you've also got the stamina of Joyce. So with this one, let's cover off the ring experience first. Start with Joyce.
Joyce has got to be higher in terms of rounds and experience through Olympics. I know that, see, age-wise, sort of up and coming, but I think, how old is Joyce? Is he 31, 30, 31?
No, I think he's older than that.
Is he?
I thought he was.
Because I think Dubois is only kind of 23, 24. He's very young.
Yeah.
I know Dubois has got sort of experience in terms of fights and the people that he's sort of fought, but as you say, his tail end of career. But there's an interesting match off that. It's not when you say Dubois has got the power, it's not that Joyce hasn't. I think that Dubois' power is more like one-shot power, whereas Joyce, he just keeps on hammering people and it's cumulative.
Yeah, definitely. But in terms of experience, Joyce, from all of that amateur stuff, and he's definitely fought a higher level of caliber fighter during his pro career. You'd have to give ring experience to Joyce. Age, of course, is on Dubois' side, being the youngster. He didn't have a particularly massive amateur career because he wanted to get straight into the pros and become heavyweight champion at a young age, which he is on track to do. He, as I say, Dubois' one punch power is massive. By all accounts, Joyce has got a good chin now.
Yeah, he has. What I've sort of seen of him in recent fights, he does get hit quite easy, but he just seems to be part of his defence. He doesn't seem bothered. He just seems, whether he blocks it on his punch or he blocks it on the side of his head or his chin, he just keeps on coming forward. Probably why he's got the nickname of that sort of juggernaut. So, this sort of relentless, sort of constantly moving forwards. I don't know whether there'll come a point where he'll be moving forwards and he'll realise he'll have to stop because Dubois' power will literally back him up. But it's an interesting sort of match-off in that respect. But Joyce can certainly take a punch, but can he take a Dubois punch?
And like you say, he does get hit. It's not like he's elusive.
No.
Also, when it comes to the speed, Joyce gets a lot of sort of criticism because he looks like he's on slow motion sometimes.
Yeah.
He has lost.
Sorry, go on.
He has lost a lot of weight for this one, so he looks slimmer than he did. Dubois is always in shape, but the last time that Joyce fought, he was a bit chunky.
Yes. Yeah, I think with Joyce, it's a little bit deceptive because when you talk to people that fight him, he isn't that slow. It just seems that rather than the punch sort of coming with snap, it just seems to sort of telegraph, and it's just this constant movement and sort of swing. So to actually watch him, it looks sort of quite sluggish and like he's sort of lumbering around, but he's effective. He still hits people. People aren't dodging out the way, so he can't be that slow, because you'd see him telegraph his punch and you'd be dodging out the way and blocking it, but people don't. So I just think it's just his sort of method, or the way he approaches the fights. It's a constant sort of rolling motion of how he punches, rather than being static and something just snapping out really quick and coming back. It's his motion makes him look a little bit lumbering.
And everyone says about his stamina. Joe Joyce's stamina, everyone says how good it is, and that he's just able to just keep going and keep going and keep going, which for a heavyweight is great.
Yeah, it is, but I think from wherever he does, the pace that you see in the first 30 seconds will be the same pace he will be fighting at the end of round 12, if he gets to round 12. It's just this same constant edging forward, just constantly punching, constantly doing something. Just hammering his opponent to submission, really.
Yeah. And activity, sort of the last time they fought, they both fought recently in terms of, they're not inactive fighters.
No.
Obviously, this fight should have been a few months before, but the pandemic sort of has pushed it back and pushed it back. Fair play at this point to Frank Warren. This fight is free. Well, if you got BT, it's free. It's not. There's not a pay-per-view on it, which is incredible for a fight like this. They must have lost a lot of money to hold it now.
Yeah, and it is, like you say, big up there to Frank in doing this, because that easily, when there's other fights that we've been talking about recently on pay-per-view that are looking at £20 for exhibitions or other types of fights, it could have easily put out their pay-per-view £20, and I would have paid for that.
Yeah, definitely.
100%. Here and now, telling you now. If he just said 20, I've got BT Sport, and I've got it for free. Yeah. But if he just said that's a box office fight, £20, I'd have paid that.
Yeah. But if Frank Warren is watching, we're very happy that you've put it on for free. Okay, we don't want suddenly him to say, "Hold on a second.
Yeah,
I've listened to the feedback, and I'm going to charge for this fight." Okay, so we don't want to be responsible for an increase in the cost of this fight, because we would literally pay for two pigeons fighting. Let's be honest. Okay, so who's got the better jab?
That's got to be Dubois. I don't think Joyce has a bad jab, but I think Dubois' jab is so crisp and sharp and so effective at keeping people at range and then setting up his own work. I'll put my neck on the line here and just say it. Potentially, I think Dubois' jab is looking in the framework of Lennox Lewis, Larry Holmes. I think it's that good for setting up, for keeping the opponent at bay. And actually, I imagine, I wouldn't fancy being hit by one of his jabs, to be fair. It'd probably be like most people's crosses.
And then he's got his crosses as well. The guy is a powerful guy. And we've spoken about Joyce's chin. Dubois' chin, we don't know.
I think there's one instance, if you watch the fight back he had with Larty. No party Larty. If you watch that fight back, there's an instance where they have a bit of an exchange in the middle of the ring, and Larty catches him, and Dubois has a bit of a moment where he just kind of doesn't get shaken, but it stops him and he has to sort of readjust. So he's human. He can be hurt. He's not a machine. He's a man. He's not blooming Ivan Drago off Rocky IV. He can be beat. We could, and we don't know this, but we could have a Frank Bruno on our hands. In that, great looking forward, going forward, smashing people, knocking people out. Or when he gets caught with a good one himself, Frank Bruno, that was a bit of a shock to us when he sort of shut down. When he got hit. Now, we could have Daniel Dubois. I don't think he's going to be, but Daniel Dubois could be a Frank Bruno. Yeah, that's what people do. That they kind of look at a boxer or a fighter and they use their ring experience or what they've been watching, and they say, he reminds me of him, she reminds me of that person. And Dubois, I've sort of seen this and seen it a bit myself. He gets that thing of is a modern day Frank Bruno, very powerful, very good with a certain caliber of other fighters. But when it's the Bone Crusher Smiths, when it's Witherspoon, when it's whoever, when the sort of the top echelon of people, and you get hit back, because when you go through the ranks, eventually you are going to get hit too. He would flounder a bit. So I think this is as good a test as any Saturday night. Joyce at some point is going to hit him, and we're going to find out.
Yeah, I mean, it is a very, very good matchup. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It reminds me a bit of De Gale versus Groves, when you've got two guys that are both coming up and they're meeting way before you would expect them to meet, really.
Yeah.
So, go on, mate.
I was just going to say it was a similar press conference or build-up that we had with the Nathan Gorman, Daniel Dubois, because of their experience and previous sparring, and I think things were different back then compared to how it was on fight night. And I think Nathan had an off night that night. I'm not taking anything away from Dubois' ability, but Nathan's much better than that. And I think hopefully we'll start to see Nathan come back on the boxing scene soon. I'm a big fan of Nathan Gorman. But
Nathan Gorman can come back.
100%.
Nathan Gorman can come back, definitely.
He's a fantastic boxer. His natural skill is phenomenal. It's just the behind the scenes, the sort of training, conditioning, with the right sort of tweaks, he could be like really, really seriously good. But I think similar in that sort of fight, they thought it was quite even, and it obviously on the night turned out different. Do you think? What is the question to you? Do you think that we could see something like that where it's Dubois gets Joyce out of there in under 4 rounds?
Yes.
Can you see that? Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that, because I just think he's such a talent. I really do think that he's a mega talent, and I think he could go right to the top. And everything they're saying about him, I think will become true. In saying that, Joyce has been in with so many different people, especially in his amateur career. He's fought some good guys, beat Stavern, Jennings. You know, he's beat some decent operators in the pro game. Yes. He fought Usyk as an amateur, so he's been in the ring with some good guys. And he hasn't come up short yet. So, I mean, it is a super matchup. One thing that they're really struggling with these two guys is the press conferences and the personality of these guys. They're not going to win Sports Personality of the Year, are they? No. Neither of them.
No, and when you watch the latest, press conference, and it's like, respect your elders and stuff, and the sort of things they're sort of coming out with. And I think perhaps we've been spoilt by certain people that want to throw tables and dress up as Batman and do all sorts of crazy stuff. And I think then when you see, there's nothing really wrong with them. It's just that I think for a fight you want to see a bit of needle, and there's no real needle there. They're both just nice guys. And
nice guys, and I'm gonna put you to sleep. And it's just there's no convincing there. There's no conviction. Even though I think the intent inside them when they get in the ring will be there. I think it will be a great fight. But Frank Warren must be at home going, try and sell these guys when I think they're better than they were. To be fair to them, I think they are opening up a little, but. If you remember the David A press conferences, the Audley Harrison could sell you anything. I mean, he would not turn up in the fight, but he would make you believe that he was going to, and you would believe
every single time,
and you would pay that money to watch him.
I know, but that's the thing about this fight, and I really think it's true. Even though that they're not selling the fight to me, I know that when they fight, they will go for it.
Yeah, this is the opposite.
Audley with a lot of, I'm going to do this and I'm coming back, and and it didn't happen, which is a shame. But then I think with Dubois and Joyce, they just haven't got that kind of sass about them for press conferences. But I know in the ring, 100% they'll deliver.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. In the ring, they will not disappoint. They keep on wheeling. Is it Joe Joyce's manager? His name's Sam. They keep wheeling him out, and he's like a little sort of mouthpiece, and he's coming out with all the sound bites and trying to. It's a bit forced. It's a bit, you can tell that they had a round the table where there was that guy, there was Frank Warren, and there was the two guys, Joyce and Dubois, and they literally got this Sam guy there to try and force, something. And then he tried his best. But ultimately, it's that sort of chat that you need to come from the boxers, and it ain't coming from them really. And if it is, it doesn't even sound convincing.
No. You want to, yeah. I think you want to see that little bit of violence or a little bit of needle, and they're like, I'm really going to smash your face in. And you think of other press conferences that we've seen down the years, and some of the names you've mentioned there of people being, behind fences and throwing bottles at each other and spitting each other's faces and throwing tables.
We don't need the spitting in the faces. I think
we don't need that, but I'm saying that's happened. That's happened with certain British fighters spat in someone's face, and it was like, whoa, hang on.
Yeah, it's too far.
It is too far, but still, we've seen some crazy stuff. So these two, who's going...
Yeah. Oh, they're a very hard sell. I mean, whoever goes on from this, they'll have a PR person, and they got to do some work with these guys. Otherwise, they need to turn into almost like a Mike Tyson, whereby, say, if it's Daniel Dubois, he just keeps quiet and goes on the old intimidation, and then people think, oh well, he's just quiet because he's mean. But that's not the case, is it? He's a nice guy, and he just happens to have a massive shots like so. So it's a very interesting fight. Who are you picking?
Honestly, it's a pick 'em for me. Even though I've asked you the question there, and you could see that inside of 4 rounds. It's inside the first 6 rounds, I favour Dubois. After 6 rounds, I favour Joyce. I could see Joyce wearing him down, stopping Dubois late. I could see if Dubois did catch him early on, 3rd, 4th round, it wouldn't surprise me. So it's a 50-50. Have I got to say someone's name?
Yeah.
Joyce.
Okay. Well, I'll go Dubois early. Okay. You're going Joyce presumably a bit later.
I hope that early on, even though that he will get caught, he'll somehow ride the storm. Dubois might punch himself out a little bit, and Joyce will take him deep, and then the experience will start to show. He'll just be relentless, keep on coming, and eventually Dubois will just do the old Frank Bruno and just go a bit stiff and unfortunately,
So we will see, but neither of us are expecting points.
No way, no.
We're paying. No, we're not even paying. It's free on BT. We're not even paying. We're not even paying, but for our no pennies, for our no pounds, we are expecting knockout early. We don't care because we haven't paid £20. So if it lands, if it's over in the first 2 rounds, we don't care. So there you go.
No, it doesn't matter. It just means early night in bed.
Value for money. All the way. Right, okay. So thanks so much, David. Good to go through that. I hope you enjoyed that. Please like and subscribe to Fit to Box channel, and I shall speak to you soon.